video. Appreciate you coming by, man. All right, I'm okay. What? Oh, here we go. You got a camera on, don't you? Let me see. Let me go with the back. What are you doing, Hootie? Why you got the camera on, man? What are you gonna teach about today? Looking all crazy. Let me get over here. Here, sit right there. We at Kent Smith Base. Shout out to Cock folks, what's happening? Today we're gonna talk about, this is for beginners, man. How are you gonna teach how to adjust your bass? Well, I guess he could do that. All right, so today we're gonna talk about how to, for beginners, when you have an active bass. And what to do when you have an active bass. All right, first thing we're gonna do is unwrap this cord, which somebody who brought it over here knotted it all up. What up, man? What are you doing, bro? Come on, man. What you doing, man? First thing you want to do is unwrap your cord and then put it in a place where it's safe. And you won't step on it. And we're gonna put it underneath my feet and around it so I won't have to step on it. All right, so today we're using a 4-string bass with active electronics. All right, because I have active electronics, we're going to show you how to adjust your bass with active electronics, beginners. All right, the first thing you want to do is tune your bass. You should never start doing anything without tuning your bass. What that does is give you, it works on your ear, because if your ear hears something enough, your spirit picks it up, it becomes a habit. It becomes it's like every time you tune your bass, you hear that pitch, that 440 pitch, and it gets in your spirit and it stays there. And a lot of times you playing, as a beginner, you playing, oh, something ain't right, man. Just notice slightly off. And you fix it. All right, so what I normally do when I set up on my gigs and my bass, when I have an active bass, I have to look at what is in the bass first. What kind of pickups in there? What kind of active electronics I got in my bass? All right, I already know what my bass sounds like with all the active electronics off. All right, if I bought the bass because I like the way it sounds with all the active electronics off. That's the first thing I did, because I sat there, in the store, and I heard the bass. Let me turn it on. I heard the bass, and I liked the way it sounded. I went through it. I heard the bass, so it's like, oh, this bass sounds cool. With all the electronics off. Remember, turn back, turn down. Now, I go to my amp. Me personally don't want to hear the way the amp sounds. I don't want to hear the color of the amp, so I don't put it as colored as I can. Some people say, well, put it at detent. And when I started doing videos, I was putting stuff at detent, but even at detent, things are colored. You don't even know that, do you? All right, so I turn stuff anywhere between 9. Get out of here. Get out of here. Between 9, I'm in nature, so spiders and stuff gonna show up. Between 9 and 10 o'clock. That's my setting on all my, because this is a simple amp. It just has bass, mids, and treble, and I put it at 9 to 10 o'clock. All right. So if I need to hear the bass, I turn the volume up. So I turn the bass all the way up first, without all the electronics off. With the electronics off, I turn the bass all the way up. So that way I know how loud my amp is. So I don't hear no color in that amp. And I can hear my bass. Okay, I'm hearing it. That's my bass. Okay, so now I go to both pickups and I'm hearing my bass only. I don't hear the electronics of this. I don't hear the electronics of this. I'm hearing my bass. The pickups and the pickups. Okay, so my next move It's to start coloring what's coming out of my bass. So I go to my mids and I turn my mids to D10, both of them. And I start with my mids first, and I try to get. Get out of here. What I'm hearing right now is too much mids, so I got to come back either on my low mids and crank my high mids up. See, now the bass is clean again. I still got mids coming. Right? Okay. Hear that? I hear that low pan sound. That's that low pan sound. So now I go to my treble and bass. So now I want to dial in enough treble where I don't lose. I get a little top end, but I don't lose. I don't get that clickish sound, that click pop sound. So now my jazz still sound natural. Okay, I still got that natural sounding jazz. So, and these are arrow pickups I got in here. So listen. Very, very articulate pickups, very clear. I already know what my pickups sound like before I even turn my electronics on. Arrows are the most incredible pickups you can actually buy. They're a little on the expensive side, but that's what you want. You want stuff that sounds amazing and not like everybody else. So now that I have my treble to pretty much where I want it, all right, I'll go to my bass and I'll dial my bass in. So right now my bass is at D10. Nice and smooth undertones. Rolling nicely. Pop is still there. I'm hearing that cooking pan noise. I said cooking pan noise. Cooking pan. If you take a pot out of the kitchen, take a spoon and hit it in the middle of that pot, you should hear this. All right, close to that anyway. That's what a jazz sounds like. On the G string there. Okay? So now that I have my bass as warm as I want it, I know during the night it's going to get even warmer because I got a rosewood neck. Because I have a rosewood neck, as I'm playing, my ear's going to tell me I'm losing highs, but it's really not. It's still the same. It's just my neck is beginning to savor all those tones in there, and then it begins to let it go out a lot smoother than what it is. So what I do is I come to my amp, because I don't want to keep jacking stuff up on my amp. So I bring my volume up on my amp just 2 notches, and then I'll go back to my bass. You hear? It ain't changed yet. All I did is brought it up just a little bit. I don't want my amp where it's rolling across the stage by itself, and you can't hear nobody but me. I want that amp to stay so clean, because when I started out the night, that was what I wanted to hear. This is what I wanted to hear all night, not just half of the night, and then after the third break or the third, session you got to do. Everything you have to go back and rechange everything. So what you do is you just keep adjusting, from your bass and not from your amp. So what you do is that you go back to your bass, and if you need to bring something up a lot more than what it is, you go to your bass and do it, and not go to your amp. So what you want to do is stay away from this. That's what you want to do. Stay away from the coloring of this amp right here, and stay within your bass. So your bass will give you, that's what the preamp is there for. So if you feel like you need to darken up your sound, you can go to your mids and do that. Or you can go back to your bass and roll it a little bit more. You still got the highs going. but your bass is getting a little bit darker. So to bring it out a little bit more, you go back to your mids again, and you clock your mids just a little bit past D10. So I'm trying to teach you guys how to keep your tone from the beginning to the end, but using only your preamp that's on your bass. Because a lot of people get hot preamps on their basses and they don't know how to adjust them from their bass. So they go back to the amp and they keep going to the amp and turning the amp up. Well, the only thing you're doing is recoloring your bass. What you don't want to do is recolor your bass. You want your bass to stay the same color that you started out with. So at the end, you will have the same tone that you started out with. And during the night, your tone's gonna get darker and darker and smoother and smoother, and more fat tones. You don't want to change what you started at the beginning, so you just want to readjust a little bit from your bass. That's what a preamp does. It colors from your bass. So you never want to color from your amp. You always want to color from your bass. And that's how Mark has keep his sound, particularly the whole gig, without even going to his amp. I never verse it. Verse 7, I see him go to his amp on a gig. Like when he doing like sessions and stuff like that, you know, he'll go back to the amp and readjust a little bit. But on his gigs, well, at least we don't see it anyway, he don't go back to his amp anymore. Once he set it at sound check, that's it. You know, whatever he colors from his bass, not from his amp. So there you have it, folks. I just want to throw that out there to you beginners and stuffuses. So there you have it. Coming from the Hobo Depot, please pray for us. Keep praying for us as we pray for y'all every morning. You already know we do that. Please like, please share, please tell others, please subscribe, and pray for your enemies. And pray for him, because he was going to do this session today, this lesson thing, but I had to stop him because he know too much and I don't know enough. So I just tell you the enough I don't know. Whatever you want to do. Anyway, shout out to Chicago, folks. We out here. Johnny Long and Hobo Depot. Peace.